Live from New York, this is the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey, and as always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. How you doing today on a beautiful Friday evening?
I'm doing great.
We got a big show planned today. Patriots' final preseason games tonight.
I'm decked out in my Patriots gear.
Yeah, no, you're
Super Bowl champions.
It's been a while since they were Super Bowl champions.
Not that long
ago.
About
what, 5 years?
Well, many teams could say they haven't been Super Bowl championships in 25 years.
AKA the Cowboys. Nearly 30 years for the Cowboys.
Yeah, how about the Jets, huh?
They were
the Bills, huh? If they ever won a Super Bowl.
They have not won a Super Bowl. They lost
four of them.
They lost four straight, yeah. The Vikings also haven't had a great time in the Super Bowl
Miami,
either.
when's the last time they won a Super Bowl, huh? Tell me.
Oh, man. Yeah. Great way to start. We got a big show planned today. We got a lot of news, a lot of rumors as well. And we got a couple predictions that we're going to make. The NFL season is approaching rapidly, and this is the final preseason week. And it features, at least tonight, in about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes from now, the New England Patriots will verse against the Tennessee Titans. We may see D-Hop versus his could-have-been team, the New England Patriots. We may also see a little bit of Ryan Tannehill, and we could potentially see some Mac Jones. Now, before we jump into but you know what? I'll tell you about this news a little bit later, but I want to know, what are you looking for in both the Tennessee Titans and the New England Patriots?
Well, they were supposed to practice together this week, but they canceled that because of the injury to Isaiah Bolden. And so the Patriots traveled down there yesterday, and so they haven't practiced to been together, so this will just be fresh tonight, and that will be interesting. I don't think that Mac Jones is going to play. The offensive line has a bunch of injuries, and I don't think they want to risk him getting hurt in a preseason game, so I think it'll be mostly Bailey Zappi. I'm hoping we'll see some of Malik Cunningham. I'd like to see him play some more. He was kind of entertaining in the very first game, which was a crummy game overall, except for that the last drive. He took him down the field and scored a touchdown, and he scored the touchdown, which was fun to watch. I thought that was the most entertaining part of the game. So tonight, what am I looking for? I'm hoping that some of the starters will be in there with Bailey Zappi at quarterback so we can see how he does with the first team. I'm hoping to see the defense play really well against the Titans in the first half with a lot of the starters in there. And I'm hoping the Patriots will come out on top. That's what I'm hoping for.
That's what you're hoping.
That's what I'm hoping for, Nate.
Well, on the Patriots side of this, that was the thing I was going to tell you, is that there's a pretty decent chance, there was a strong understanding that Mac Jones may not play tonight because of the fact the offensive line's dealing with injuries. And, we saw what it looked like with Sidney So and Connor McDermott and a few other, I think Ferenc, I'm pretty sure. They put him at left tackle against the Packers, and Mac Jones getting obliterated. A third of his dropbacks were all pressured. So I hope to see him play because he's the guy with a huge question mark on his back and the huge burning seat underneath him. At least according to the fans, I still think he needs a little bit of leeway. He got screwed over in that second season. But from the Patriots side, I want to see the starters out there. I want to see some good defense. I want to see good pressure. I want to see Keon White get out there and then pressure. It could have been Ryan. It could be Ryan Tannehill. It could be Malik Willis. Malik Willis. I also want to see Will Levis out there. He didn't play in the second preseason game. I want to see him out there. And it looks like we may be able to see the debut of Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield. I want to see if he's still got any bit of juice left over. Now, we saw, at least a lot of people have seen, his rushing yards per game have declined since his rookie year. They've gone down and down and down. Now I think they're barely above 50 yards per game with these yards per attempt, I think barely over 3. Not looking good for the former All-Pro and Pro Bowl running back who dominated the league early on in his career. But I do want to see some of Ezekiel Elliott to see how good he will be. But I actually hope, we get to see a little bit of Malik Cunningham because there is a pretty decent shot that he does not make the 53-man roster heading into week 1. I think the Patriots may only bring 2 quarterbacks into the starting rotation, starting 53-man team, and I don't know if that's a great idea, but if it's between 2 quarterbacks on your roster or 6 receivers, I'm going to take that instead of 3 quarterbacks and having to get rid of either Demario Douglas or Kayshon Boutte. I think both those receivers should be in the 53-man roster. They seem to be both very quick, agile, mobile, and dynamic players. Of course, they're rookies, so we'll have to wait and see. Tyquan Thornton, I would like to see something there. He got overplayed last season. I didn't love it. He had a couple bad drops like against the Bengals. There was a beautiful deep ball that Mac Jones threw to him. Fell right through his hands, and he dropped it. I want to see if there's a little bit there. But if Mac Jones does play, there's something that I guarantee you that we will see. I guarantee we're going to see a Kendrick Bourne-Mac Jones connection. It worked immediately against Green Bay, and I expect to see it if Mac Jones does play. At least play a drive, at least play something, because he only threw 9 passes against Green Bay. I want to see more Mac Jones here because after this, they're not going to see any opponents until September 10th against the Philadelphia Eagles. And they have a dynamic offense. A.J. Brown. They got Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. They just got DeAndre Swift in the backfield. They have Jalen Hurts at quarterback, a top 3 offensive line. They just were about to break the record for the most sacks in an NFL season last year. And you're going up against that team. You got to see. I want to see a lot of the starters because they're still dealing with injuries on the offensive line, which is a huge thing for them. So Cole Strange is questionable. There's a couple guys, Calvin Anderson, who they picked up in the offseason. He's questionable as well. I want to see a lot of these starters out there so Mac Jones maybe can play because that's what they need. If Mac Jones is going to be the future of this franchise, I want to see him out there making throws, not throwing 9 passes, getting pressured on a third of his dropbacks. But at least that's from the Patriots side I'm looking at. Like I said, I want to see Will Levis out there. I thought at least in week 1, he looked like the most confident, maybe not the best, but at least the most confident. He wasn't really jittery. He wasn't, rapidly looking left and right. He went through his progressions, made a couple of nice throws, and that was kind of the opposite of what we heard, or at least what we heard at OTAs and minicamp was Will Levis looked terrible. Interceptions, bad throw, bad decision making, and in the first preseason game, he looked really, really good. And for some reason, he didn't play in the second preseason game. I didn't understand that whatsoever.
Your comparisons are to the other rookie quarterbacks that are in the league this year.
Well, yeah,
performances.
I
said he looked good compared to them.
Yes, in week 1 of the preseason compared to the rest of the quarterbacks in week 1 because they
didn't really get to play much.
Bryce Young barely played. C.J. Stroud threw 2-3 passes. I think he threw 4 passes.
Threw one to the other team.
Yeah, no, he threw 4 passes, completed 3, except one of them was to the other team, which is the Jalen Mills. So at least, when I'm comparing, in week 1 of the preseason, Will Levis looked the most, confident. Aiden O'Connell for the Raiders. Love the way he looked the first 2 weeks. Excited to see what he looks like so far this week because he may take that. I mean, Jimmy G's deal with an injury history. We could see him out there this season. But when it comes to this game, the Titans, I was told that the Titans have a great defense. They were surprisingly pretty good last season. I don't know if you remember the game against the Chiefs, where Malik Willis, I think, completed 5 passes, and that game went into overtime somehow against Mahomes.
Oh, the defense was good.
I couldn't believe it when I was watching that game. Malik Willis completed 5 passes
near the end of the season last year.
Yeah.
They fell apart.
Well, the Patriots, we saw what Mac Jones looked like against the Titans the last time he played, which was 2021. That was one of his best games of his career so far. I mean, they won that game, and I think that game moved them into the number 1 seed in the entire AFC, which is a huge game. But I want to see some competency. I think that's the big thing here. I want to see some competency when it comes to this offense. And then right now with the offensive line in shambles, I kind of agree with this. It could be risky to put Mac Jones out there because City So ain't the dude.
I bet he won't play.
And that's unfortunate because if he's really the guy who's in question out here, you got to see him. I don't think, the first time.
I don't know what it is with the Patriots. They always have problems with their offensive line.
And that's probably why Belichick keeps drafting so many of them.
People being hurt.
Yeah.
No big name players now. They did have some really good guys on the offensive line. What happened to them?
What, Matt Light back in the early 2000s?
Yeah, well, after him.
Sebastian Vollmer they had.
He was good.
Nate Solder was okay.
Nate Solder.
Toward the end of his Patriots tenure, he wasn't that good. Marcus Cannon was never very good.
He was okay.
Shaq Mason was pretty good for him, yeah. David Andrews, of course. Still there. Still great. I'm trying to think left tackles. It was really the ones I remember is Nate Solder was a left tackle.
Nate Solder was a good left tackle.
Yeah, no, except now though he's
caught
not
a
too
touchdown
great.
Pass.
Really?
Yeah.
He
did. He caught a touchdown pass.
Interesting. Was it a Tom Brady throw?
Yeah, throw it to him.
Expected. Yeah. No, that makes sense. I don't know. It's going to be good to see the Patriots versus Titans, but this is sort of It's we got to see what the Patriots have, and then on the Titans side I hope to see Will Levis. Because Malik Willis was the one that they seemingly were going to give up on, and that could be why he played, I think, the entire second preseason game. But you know what? I don't think we'll see. I'm not actually sure if we'll see Ryan Tannehill. I think it would be interesting to see Ryan Tannehill just sort of.
Has he played a snap yet?
I don't believe he's played a single snap this preseason.
Maybe you will see him.
We may see DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not sure. Injuries and
it'd be fun to see what he looks like in a Titans uniform.
Yeah, no, I think that'll be very, very interesting to see. But of course, that game is in about I want to say an hour and a half. So
I'll be watching.
Sooner or later, we will get all of our questions will be answered in about I think 8:15 the game is. So we'll have to wait and see. Let's get into our next topic, and I think this is a pretty bombshell report here from the New York Times. So Giannis sat down with the New York Times and had a pretty huge discussion, and this is one of the major quotes that he said. Giannis said, "I would not be the best version of myself if I don't know that everybody's on the same page. Everybody's going for a championship. Everybody's going to sacrifice time away from their family like I do. And I don't feel that. And if I don't feel that, I'm not signing." He actually also said, winning a championship comes first. I don't want to be 20 years on the same team and don't win another championship. His future in Milwaukee, I think we talked about this a couple months ago, I think, when we said that Giannis could be one of the big. I brought it up when we did the Celtics were gathering up a bunch of these picks, and I said they're going for someone big, and there was the report that a seismic trade could be happening this year or next year. Now, Giannis next year is eligible for a 3-year, $173 million extension. Right now, he's still wrapping up his contract, which he signed back in 2020, which was 5 years, about $230 million. That ends in 2025. He does have a player option in 2025 for about $52 million. So it wouldn't be this season he signs it. September 22nd, he's eligible. He even said, numbers-wise, it doesn't make sense to sign it now or to even think about it now. Next summer, I think that's the last year of his deal. That's when he'll think about it. So this season is a major season for the Milwaukee Bucks to sort of figure out what's going on. So I want to know, do you think Giannis next summer, because he even said it doesn't make sense right now, do you think next summer Giannis will sign the extension to stay with the Milwaukee Bucks?
He can sign this extension next month, right?
He could sign it a month from now if he wanted to.
And get $173 million guaranteed commitment.
At the end of his 3 year, at the end of 2025,
he'd have another $173 million added to it.
If he, even next summer though, it doesn't matter when he signs it. Except,
but what if he gets hurt this year?
Well,
what if he got a career-threatening injury?
Well, then I don't think
in this year.
I don't think the Bucks will offer him that extension.
That's right. So what would you do? If you had a chance to sign for $173 million now before you have to play any games this year, would you take the risk of playing the whole year, waiting to see what happens, whether he thinks the team is committed to winning a championship, which is a pretty subjective thing. Right? What players does he think would be the right chemistry for him on the Milwaukee Bucks and the coaching staff and everything that will create an environment where they can win another championship? That's a very hard thing to predict.
Of course.
And a hard thing to say,
Absolutely.
I mean, they have a team. I'd say the team they had this past year was a championship caliber team, right? They had they had a lot of good players on that team. Why Miami beat them is beyond me. I mean, Giannis was hurt a little bit in that game,
right?
In that series.
Yeah.
And why they couldn't overcome that? Well, the coach got fired, and
Mike Budenholzer
now
got
we're
fired.
on to a new coach who came from the Raptors, their assistant coach.
Right.
So we'll see. If I were him, I would sign now.
I would.
Why take the risk? $173 million.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't do it.
I would not sign the extension at this current moment, because what we saw last year was, by the way, I'll say this right now, I think this is big when it comes to, the future, right? Giannis is going to be there. If he finishes out his contract, which I guarantee you he will do, I don't think he's one of these players that demands a trade.
He has an option year
in 2025. So
at the end of 25, he has to play the 24-25.
So right now we're in the
year.
2023,
There's
2024.
2 more years with them.
If he signs a player option, he has 2 more years with them. Now next year, 2024, 2025 is technically the last year of his contract.
Right.
Now
but the player option comes.
The player options
after that.
That following year, correct?
Yeah. So he has to wait. If he doesn't sign this extension, this supermax,
I don't think it's a supermax, but it is. It may be a supermax.
It says it's a supermax.
Okay, no, fair.
So if he doesn't sign that, he has to wait till the end of his contract.
No.
He could sign it any time.
He said that numbers-wise, at the moment, it doesn't make sense to sign it right now.
Why does numbers-wise? Doesn't it make sense?
I guess it could restrict them for the future. Maybe I'm not entirely sure. Next summer is probably when he will sign it if he does decide to sign it. So if we're waiting until next summer, I'm saying do not sign this, because regardless if they win or not, I wouldn't sign it, because you could probably there are better teams out there. The Bucks. This is what I was about to jump on. The Bucks are currently tied for the oldest team in the NBA. So based on just the age of your players, I mean, Drew Holiday already announced when he's retiring at the end of his contract. He's done. He's not extending. He's not going to a different team. He's finished. How many more years does Brook Lopez have? Chris Middleton's been dealing with injuries. I'm not entirely sure this team has a future here, regardless if they win one or not. If they win one this year, great. Guess what? You still have a bunch of old guys on your team that really have no future because just of the age of them. Now, right now, we're looking at the oldest teams. It's a three-way tie.
They have a guy, Portis. They have him,
Bobby
right?
Portis. Yeah.
He's pretty good.
The 3 oldest teams, they're all tied for first based on average age of the players. Golden State Warriors, Los Angeles Clippers, Milwaukee Bucks. Mm-hmm. Now, out of those 3 teams, I don't think the Warriors are going to make it. The Clippers, they keep dealing with injury problems with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. And the Bucks, who last season, a lot of them thought that they would go to the championship, but they lost in 5 to the Miami Heat because Jimmy Butler had a phenomenal series. I really think this season is a do or die season. What's funny is that we remember right at the end of last season when the Bucks got eliminated, Giannis went on this big thing about how it's about a journey. Each season is a journey, right? He was because a reporter asked him, was this season a failure or whatever? Then he went on this big rant about how it can't be a failure. We're set out to do this. We grow. Each season's different. And now he's like, this is it. This season, if people aren't as committed as I am, taking time away from their families to be dedicated, 100% in on winning a championship this season, he's going to leave. Now, what team could, since I'm saying I don't think he'll sign extension with the Bucks, there are, I think, 3 destinations, maybe 4. The 4th one doesn't make a lot of sense contractually and money-wise, but I think 3 are pretty good destinations. The first one is the Spurs. They have a lot of money to spend. They've been a bad team for the past couple seasons. They have Wemby. Wemby is supposedly, according to estimations, within 3 years, we'll be arguing whether or not he's the best player in the league. So if he's that type of player, adding Giannis, I think you can make a pretty decent playoff, if not championship push, with just those 2 players. The second team, I think, would be the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks right now, I think genuinely, if this James Harden thing goes sideways, which I think I fully expect it to do, we might see Embiid say, we trusted the process failed, it's time for me to move on. And I said, I made a trade, I made a mock trade not too long ago about, Embiid going to the Knicks. And rightfully so, people said, why would the Knicks trade for an injury-prone playoff choker? That's a great question. Phenomenal point. But he may be your best option. If Giannis is available, if Giannis doesn't sign his extension, could the Knicks potentially be interested in getting Giannis? I would be interested. I'd be very interested in getting him. So I think that could be, potentially a location for Giannis.
He wants to go where he can win a championship. The Knicks haven't won one since 1973.
But I think, truthfully, I think the Knicks are probably one of, if not the hottest team, at least upcoming team, entering next season. The second team, which
why do you say that? Why do you say them, the hot and upcoming team? They really only have Brunson.
They have Brunson. They have Josh Hart, who they signed as an extension.
He played terrible in the playoffs.
They still have RJ Barrett,
who didn't play that well in the playoffs.
He did not play that well. However, he does play good enough. If they keep Julius
Randle is a poor playoff player.
He
didn't play well
shrinks
in the playoffs.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But they do have a young, exciting nucleus. I would have kept Obi Toppin. I think it was kind of mean for the Knicks to sign or
they have his brother now.
Draft his brother. And then let Obi go. He's going to the Pacers, so I'll be watching.
What'd they get for him?
I think they got a second-round pick for him, something like that.
That's crazy. I thought he was quite a good player. He had a lot of potential.
He did have a lot of potential. I think the third team, which is interesting because I think they hung a banner or they did something. The Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors are one of the teams that are like, how much does it cost? Sure, we'll mark it down. We'll deal with the luxury tax. We'll deal with all the financial troubles. I think they could be, I'm not saying that's realistic necessarily, but they're a team that would be out there to spend a bunch of money. And just think about the pairing of Steph Curry and Giannis. That right there just
it's 2 years down the road. Steph Curry's not getting any younger.
Right. I think, he's 36, 37, if I'm not mistaken. I don't
think he was that old. I thought he was like 35.
He may be 35. But at least when he signs, he may be 36, 37 years old. Right now, Steph Curry is... Can I get a quick 35 years old. So when that contract
37.
When his contract goes up, he'll be about 36, 37 years old. And then the team that doesn't make a lot of sense, but I mentioned it earlier just based on how much they're compiling draft picks, is the Boston Celtics. Now, contractually, it wouldn't make much sense because if you're going to deal with a guy who's on a Supermax extension like Giannis would be, you would also have Jason Tatum, who probably will sign the Supermax going into, I believe he's eligible next season. So you'll deal with two Supermaxes, which is the same problem you had. But actually, it might necessarily be, it may be a little bit cheaper because the Supermax that Giannis is getting won't be as much as Jason Tatum. But you would still have that.
You already have.
You would have Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown already has a $300 million contract. And that to me is, I can't believe that.
He's the richest player in NBA history right now.
Really
that's the richest contract.
Unbelievable. I mean, he's far from being the greatest player of all time.
He's not even the best player on his team.
Yeah, I know.
So. No, you would let Jaylen Brown go, obviously. You wouldn't have three. I don't even think it's possible to have three Supermax players. And I think, honestly, Jaylen Brown, I think if he plays pretty well, I think he's very, very consistent. He's probably the most consistent player on the Celtics. I still argue that. Now, it may be consistently bad in big moments in the playoffs, but honestly, the Celtics the past couple seasons have statistically been the worst clutch team in the NBA. So they have been consistent, especially in clutch time. But during the regular season, I think in the majority of the time, Jaylen Brown is the most consistent guy. We've seen Jason Tatum go up and down, 15% shooting field goal percentage. Then the next game he shoots like 5 of 10 from 3. So I think you need to get off him, and then you would sign Giannis. But I think the highest choice right now, I think, would be the Knicks. Then I would go, the Spurs, just based on the amount of money that they could spend. Then the Knicks, then the Warriors. The Celtics are kind of just.
I don't think he's going to
team.
I don't think he'd go to the Spurs.
If Wemby's going to be a top 3 player in the NBA in a couple years,
that's okay. I think maybe they might have some good players, and that guy is one of them. But I think the coach, he signed a 5-year extension, right?
Greg Popovich,
yeah, he's too old. He's going to be in his 80s, right?
Yeah.
Come on.
It will probably be an executive by the time
maybe
a year or two.
2 years more, he's going to be mid-80s, right?
Yeah. No,
come on.
He's pretty old. He's pretty old. He's still out there coaching. Except the problem is,
he's not doing a very good job.
Correct.
I mean, the team has been horrible.
Correct. The problem is, though, he's stuck in his ways and hasn't really, embraced the 3-ball yet, and that's actually hurt him a large part of the time. So, I don't know, but I think just based on how much money the Spurs could spend, you may go get Giannis and pair him up with Victor Wembanyama, but and if Wemby's going to be arguably the best player in the NBA in 3 years, you have Giannis, who used to be the best player in the NBA, paired up with the new best player in the NBA. Who's saying they can't go deep in the playoffs? Who's saying they can't make, at least the West a little bit interesting there? It could be. I saw here the Heat. How are they going to know? If you're going to get Dame and Jimmy Butler and Bam, there's no way you're going to get Giannis. I really think the Bucks aren't. Now, will the Bucks be good in the regular season? Sure. Because I just think the East isn't, super, super strong. And I think the Bucks have the third highest odds to win the East. The Celtics are number one. Or sorry, they have the third best NBA title odds. It's Celtics, then it's Nuggets, then it's Bucks. I don't love this team in clutch time. I mean, the one thing about Giannis, there's two things. The first thing is he's not a great jump shot shooter. His mid range isn't great. 3-ball not that great. The second thing is he's horrible at free throw shooting. Absolutely terrible. I think he has.
That's something he can improve on.
You would think he practices them all the time, but we saw in the playoff series he missed 12 free throws or something like that.
Not good.
It wasn't pretty whatsoever. So we'll I don't know. It's interesting. You think Giannis is going to sign it just based on potentially of injuries? He has been dealing with a couple injuries here and there. So
he probably won't.
Maybe.
I mean, he has tons of money. It's not like he needs the money.
Correct.
Maybe he'll wait, but I think if they – and it's also subjective about what he thinks a championship team looks like. And you're right.
Fair.
Some of the players are getting older. I don't know how many years longer Brook Lopez is going to play. Drew Holiday is going to retire at the end of this contract.
Yeah.
And Middleton is no youngster either. So they're going to have to reboot a little bit. And so they're going to have to do it through trades, I guess.
Maybe.
And who knows who's going to be available in those years. But it'll be interesting to see. He'll have to make a judgment about whether he thinks they're trying hard to stay relevant rather than rebuild.
They're an old team.
And I can understand why he wouldn't want to stay for a rebuild. Right?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
he's not getting that young much. He's not that young either.
I'm not sure how. I think he's 29, 28,
okay,
I think.
So
I mean, if I was Giannis, I've been an MVP. I've won an NBA championship. I don't want to stick around for a rebuild. I want to keep this championship thing going.
Yeah.
And if we lose out this year, or if I don't feel that a lot of players are committed, I mean, I would leave too. You have a brand new head coach. At least Giannis is not upset about, Budenholzer getting fired and then you bring in a new head coach. He at least wants to see how this team looks.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be some growing pains. Maybe the coach.
He says he loves the Bucks. It's not.
You always love the first team.
He's not being negative. He's not being negative. He just wants to make sure that the team around him, that he's part of a team that has a chance to win it all. He's
holding players accountable this time. He's saying, what are we doing here? We're all aging here. New head coach. We got to get this going.
Yeah.
Maybe
this is their best year, their best chance coming up right now.
Maybe. It very well may be. I think it's at least the Celtics. I mean, the Celtics can't afford some of the players that they have on their team right now, especially with two guys.
I think there's question marks on the Celtics.
I agree with you.
I'm not sure why they're favored to win it all, number one. Why they're the top team for winning it all. I mean, they're bringing in Porzingis.
Yeah.
He had a decent year last year, but before that he had injury issues. He was inconsistent. I don't know. And the point guard position for the Celtics
is Derek White.
Derek White. He hasn't played. He played point guard a little bit when he was a rookie, apparently. But
his first two seasons.
They still have Brogdon, who was a good person.
I think he should have been starting.
Maybe he should be the starter. But we'll see what happens.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. But Giannis could be on the move. And, of course, as always, we'll have to wait and see. All right, coming up. So, could the Patriots shock the NFL world and take back the AFC East crown that they haven't had in a number of years? And also, a new report says that Kyler Murray may be shut down for the entire 2023-2024 NFL season. We break all that down right after this.
You have a lot to say. Maybe you've thought, I should start a podcast. Meet Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast ever. It's a powerful mobile app and web tool that lets you record a podcast anywhere and distribute it everywhere. It's great whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out. And it's 100% free. You can record your show straight into Anchor on your phone, iPad, or the web, using any mic you want. Record alone or with friends or co-hosts anywhere in the world. You can add background music and transitions, and your listeners can send you voice messages that you can incorporate right into your next episode. If you want to produce your show using another app, you can upload your own audio directly from web or mobile, and still take advantage of Anchor's totally free podcast hosting. Once your podcast is ready to publish, Anchor can automatically distribute it to every major podcast platform. That includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, so your listeners can hear your show wherever they want. And on the web, you can see detailed analytics about how people are listening. Plus, you'll get a great-looking profile page where anyone can listen to your podcast or subscribe to it. And if you want to ask your audience to support your work, Anchor makes it easy to collect monthly payments from the people who love your podcast and want to see it grow. You really don't need a recording studio, expensive equipment, or a bunch of technical knowledge to deal with a podcast feed. Just get started and join the diverse community of podcasters already on Anchor. We can't wait to hear your podcast.
Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey, and as always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. Let's get into our next topic here. So it looks like, according to Sports Illustrated's Connor Orr, he predicts that the Patriots will shock the NFL world, and win the AFC East. Pretty crazy stuff. So I want to know, Dad, do you think the Patriots can actually pull this off and come out on top of the AFC East?
I do.
Fair enough.
I think so. Yeah. I think that the Bills, I think that they're trying to reboot a little differently with less running around by Josh Allen, and more stay in the pocket and throw the ball from there rather than scramble around and run sometimes. And sometimes when he runs, man, he takes a lot. He takes some big hits, and he doesn't try to avoid them either. So I think that that could be an issue for Buffalo. For the Jets, they got Aaron Rodgers, so we're going to the Super Bowl. We brought in Dalvin Cook. We got a great defense. I don't know about their coaching. I think their coaching is a little bit of a question mark. And also, Aaron Rodgers is going to be 40 years old. He might be losing a step. So that could be an issue for them. And in Miami, you got Tua, who is one concussion away from retirement. So if he gets hurt again, they've shown that they fall off dramatically when they don't have great quarterback play. So I think that the Patriots, with Bill O'Brien now as their offensive coordinator, with their defense even stronger than it was last year, with picking up the rookie there from Oregon to play cornerback, and Keon White, who looks very good, the second-round pick back there, with all the other guys that they brought back, they really didn't lose anyone, right? Except Devin McCourty retired, and he played many, many years, so I think they could be able to fill in at safety for him. So I think there's a chance. I think they could potentially win the AFC East, although the one thing that is a real challenge there is the strength of their schedule, which is third hardest in the league. So while they may be able to do well in their own division based on some of those issues I mentioned for the other teams, some of the other teams they're going to have to play are pretty challenging, including the first game of the season when they play the Eagles.
Yeah, no, I think, first of all, that's the big thing right there. You're playing the Eagles in week one, and then that's obviously going to be very, very difficult. But in reality, according to ESPN right now, I have it right here, ESPN ranks the Patriots as the 17th best team in the NFL. Now, I believe.
Now, what does ESPN know?
Well, currently, they're below some teams that I don't think off the top of the head you would think are significantly better than the Patriots. First of all, the Giants are right above them at 16. The
Giants are ahead of the Patriots?
Yeah,
I don't buy that. I don't buy it.
The Pittsburgh,
who else is ahead of them? Pittsburgh? I don't buy that.
They're 3 spots above the Patriots. They're not even that close to the Patriots aren't even that close to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Seattle Seahawks are 12th, according to the power ranking. 12th. What do you think about that?
I think the Patriots are better than all those teams you mentioned so far.
Okay, let's see. The Lions with their bad defense.
The Lions are not better than the Patriots either. See, you're making my case for me.
Yeah, but obviously some of these teams are better.
What are you trying to do here on the screen?
Don't worry. I'm trying to get the Patriots schedule up, but apparently I can't right now. However, shockingly, the Patriots, like we talked about a while ago, their win-loss over-under was 7.5. The Browns was 9.5. And however, the power ranking for the Browns is one below the Patriots. So that's Vegas and ESPN.
So at least the Browns
agree.
are lower than the Patriots.
The Browns are lower than the Patriots.
I believe that. I think they'd be way down there.
A shocking one is the Denver Broncos are 4 spots below the Patriots.
Wow.
They're supposed to be, I think we both said they would probably double their win share here, or win total. We're talking about the Arizona Cardinals coming up, but the Arizona Cardinals are dead last.
Name the teams that are above the Patriots, starting with number 1.
Kansas
City.
Kansas City at number 1. Philadelphia at number 2. The Cincinnati Bengals at number 3. The 49ers at number 4. Buffalo Bills at 5. Dolphins at 6. Cowboys 7.
The Dolphins are at 6?
Dolphins are at 6.
I don't buy that.
Let's see. Do you want to know the breakdown of it? Do you want to know the breakdown of why they're potentially at number 6? Or we can move
Tell
on.
me just on that one, why?
The Dolphins' starting right tackle suffered an ankle injury in Week 1 last season and never got going. He's back in 2023, albeit in the final year of his contract after Miami declined his 5th-year option. The team has brought in serious competition for the first time since drafting him at number 18 in 2020. Signing tackles Isaiah Wynn, that's not competition, and Cedric, I don't even know how to pronounce that name, Cedric Obuhai.
Oh, Buhai.
I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
The job is still Austin Jackson, who's the offensive tackle. It's still his job to lose, but if he loses it, his future with the Dolphins is in doubt. So they're number 6, I guess, primarily.
They're putting him number 6 because of a couple of offensive linemen, and one of them's Isaiah Wynn.
Well, that's they're on the hot seat. I don't know why that's, but think about it. They have Jalen Ramsey. I believe they got Bradley Chubb. Tua is coming back.
They have great wide receivers.
You got Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. You got a couple of nice pieces there. You may go out and get Jonathan Taylor. You may trade for him. They're the favorite right now.
Really?
To go out and get Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. Whether he can play or not, I think his ankle is still a problem from last year.
It is, and there's a chance the Colts say, screw you, Jonathan Taylor, because they've given him until Tuesday to find an acceptable trade partner. Now, apparently 6 teams inquired, 2 made serious trade offers, one of them being the Miami Dolphins. So we'll have to wait and see whether or not Tuesday Jonathan Taylor does get traded.
Okay, who's number 7?
Number 7 is the Dallas Cowboys. That's obvious.
I don't know. Do you think Dallas is that better than the Patriots?
Their defense is better. Their offensive line is better. Dak Prescott is better.
He's better than Mac Jones.
I think he's the 12th or 13th best quarterback. I would put Mac. If Mac is who his rookie year was, he'd be the 16th best quarterback, dead in the middle. I think Dak is a 12. I think he's 12 or 13.
Okay. Who's next?
The Baltimore Ravens.
Maybe.
I'd put them over.
Depends
absolutely.
on how Lamar plays, right?
Of course. The Los Angeles Chargers. Yes.
No, I don't think so.
Yes. Oh, come on.
I don't think so.
Why? Why don't you think so?
Because the coaching is horrible.
So you say
right?
just because of coaching?
The coaching is horrible, and I'm not totally sold on their offense.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what are you not sold on? The quarterback?
The quarterback is still somewhat young.
Wow.
Yeah. And
that's a hot take right there.
How many yards did he throw for last year?
Same as Brady, I think 4,200, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But we're talking about a guy who has the most passing yards in his first 3 seasons in NFL history. More
he
than
just
Mahomes.
got a giant contract.
He did just get a massive
contract. If he
contract.
plays to his contract, then he'll be great. Who's next?
The Detroit Lions, who we talked about.
I don't believe that.
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
The Jaguars? I don't think so.
The prince who was promised.
I mean, they had the sample size is small. Last year they started out terrible. They managed to eke their way into the playoffs because they played well at the end. That may not carry over. We'll see.
But they did add Calvin Ridley, which is pretty big for them. The Seahawks, who we talked about. The New York Jets at number 13.
Yeah. I don't buy it.
Then 14 the Steelers, and then the first team above them. Can you take a guess? This was a playoff team in the NFC. You don't have many choices when it comes to that. I already said the Seahawks, the 49ers, the Cowboys, the Eagles.
A
the
playoff
Giants,
team in the AF and the NFC.
The Seahawks. There's the last remaining team that I said that are above
The Rams.
The Rams didn't make it
No,
last
they didn't
year.
make the playoffs last year.
This team played the Giants.
Oh, Minnesota.
Minnesota's
Yeah.
at number 15.
I don't know. I think it's a bunch of those teams are real close to one another in terms of their talent.
I can't give it to the Patriots for. Here's the thing. I'd feel less. Oh, this is just a joke. If they had DeAndre Hopkins, they don't have a great wide receiver one. Now they have depth if Demario Douglas and Kayshon Boutte are good. However,
so far,
though,
they look pretty good.
Devontae Parker deals with injuries. Tyquan Thornton
So
isn't
far,
that
they
great.
look very good.
They caught a couple passes and they look pretty good doing it. I will say that, but they're young receivers anyway, and they couldn't be out of Tyquan Thornton, who got overplayed. Kendrick Bourne, he was in Belichick's doghouse last season because of how outspoken he was about how bad the offense was being run. But he looked good in the preseason action. Linking up with Mac Jones. Like I said, Devontae Parker's dealing with injuries, and Juju. They overpaid for Juju. They paid more than the Chiefs did, and the Chiefs just won a Super Bowl with Juju being their primary slot receiver. So if they outbid if the Patriots outbid the Chiefs for Juju, we know that his value can't be that great because the Chiefs didn't even want to pay for him. They got Sky Moore and a couple other decent receivers as their wide receiver 1s and 2s and 3s, and the Patriots decide to overpay for him. They don't really have a dynamic, wide receiver. They're running backs. Ramondre Stevenson's good. Ezekiel Elliott should be a perfect number 2 to get the short third down yardage and in the red zone, where they were dead last in the red zone last season. The offensive line, massive question mark, and I think that's why it's important to see Mac Jones today with the starters. Throw David Andrews in there. Throw Trent Brown in there. If that's how you pronounce his name, if he's back, put him in there. Riley Reif isn't that good. If Cole Strange is healthy enough, throw him in there. Even if it's for a drive, do something there. Throw him out. At least let's get some momentum going here. But just the fact that they have the third toughest schedule and they very well could go 0-4 in their first 4 games is dangerous.
That's the biggest impediment there. That having to play a really hard team almost every week. That's quite challenging, particularly in football. I mean, you get a lot of injuries, and I don't know. I think that's the major impediment for them. Why they have such a hard schedule, I don't know. They didn't make the playoffs last year. Why do they have such a hard schedule? Mostly when you don't make the playoffs, you get a schedule that's a little easier.
You would think. Yeah. You would think. But no, I can't see this team as it's currently constructed winning the AFC East. I don't care if it's Mac Jones a quarterback. I don't care if Bailey Zappi lovers come in and ridicule me for saying Mac Jones should be the starter. Even if Bailey Zappi's out there, this team would not be anywhere close to winning the AFC East. They have the 26th ranked surrounding cast, which is not great. Even with Ezekiel Elliott in there, I think that maybe moves up 1 or 2 spots. Not really that interesting, not really that dynamic. This team, it looks like we have about 2 weeks until I make we bring back all the topics. The Harvey Hot Hands coming back. Nate's Notches is coming back. Top 10 quarterbacks. That's in about 2 weeks. Tuesday. That's the first Tuesday show, by the way. Tuesday, September 5th. That's when a bunch of the topics are coming back, and that's for
I don't
week
understand
1.
why there's such a gap between the end of the preseason and the start of the NFL
season. It used to flow right in, but they got rid of the 4th preseason game. Yeah. So now that's just a bye week, technically. It used to be week, yeah. Then preseason, or then regular season, but now it's 3 preseason games.
3 more weeks. 3 weeks after this game tonight before they play.
It's
right?
2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
25th? No, it's September 10th.
So September 10th, week 1.
Yeah.
So we got 2 weeks left. Well, actually, it's before that because it's Thursday.
2 weeks.
It's
a little bit more than 2 weeks.
Well, the Thursday technically is the Lions Chiefs, so they play 13 days from now. So we'll have to wait and see. But no, sorry to Connor, but I do not see the Patriots winning the AFC East. Let's get into our final topic of today's show. So we're talking about the Cardinals supposedly have talked privately, reportedly, saying that Kyler Murray may be shut down this entire season for reasons we're not entirely sure. His ACL, he was injured, about midway through last season against the Patriots. He tore his ACL, and he was expected to be back. But what I mentioned not too long ago was they could be in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes if they play poorly enough. So I want to know, is it time for the Cardinals to say goodbye to Kyler Murray?
I don't think so. I think that Depends on how he recovers from this injury, whether he'll even play this year or not. But even if he doesn't, I don't think they'll get rid of him.
Really?
Yeah, he still has a lot of time on his contract, right?
That is true. He did sign
and that
a
contract.
big deal.
That contract's looking pretty cheap compared to some of the other ones that have been out there just recently, right? I mean, his contract was how much?
I'm bringing it up right now. He signed a 5-year, $230.5 million contract. That was June 21st of last year.
Now, how much was guaranteed?
I think 165 or
165.
Yeah, 160. 160 was
160.
guaranteed.
So it's 5 years.
5 years, 230.5.
Yeah. So
Not-
it's a pretty rich one. Yeah.
It is a
Yeah.
pretty rich one, but now we saw quarterbacks recently get more money and more guaranteed money.
More per year, right?
More per year, yeah.
Now they're up in the almost to the mid 50s for a year.
Yeah, I think the highest is 52.
So Kyler Murray's not anywhere near that, right? A $50 million a year.
On average, I think he's making 46.
46.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
That is pretty good
Really
money.
good. I'm not sure how many other teams would be interested in picking up that contract for a guy who is a little undersized out there, right? He is very athletic, but now he's on a bad wheel. I mean, he's got that knee injury. It's going to take a while to come back from that. I'm not sure they'll put him out there this year.
So
I don't think they're going to get rid of him.
You think they will actually shut him down for the entire season? And
Could be.
not go like what?
Depends on what kind of shape he's in November, right? Isn't that the time they were thinking he might be able to come back?
Yeah, well,
also it depends
about
on
12
what their
months.
record is.
Correct.
I mean, their record could be they might not win a game.
There is a good shot.
There's a shot at that, right? That they might
There
not
is a
win a
shot.
game, but in
And
November. And if
let's
that's
they go
the case,
0-8.
and if that's the case,
Yeah.
I don't think they'll bring him back because they want to have the number one pick.
That could possibly be. I think Kyler's done. And
You think he's done?
what's crazy is, I don't know if we remember this. I called this exactly right a couple months ago.
Oh,
When I said, there were rumors like this, Kyler being unhappy, and then I think it was the head coach. They had a difficult time finding a head coach because they didn't want to deal with Kyler Murray's contract. Now we saw Kyler Murray give up running in that Rams playoff game. Didn't want to run. And when that's one of your primary attributes to being a great player, you got to at least use it. You can't be scared to run. Now you're dealing with injuries constantly. You know, I think right now there's a good shot. And I thought a couple months ago that what makes the most sense is if Kyler Murray's out half the year, and let's say you only win 2 games. Let's say you play the first 9 games of the season, you go 2-7. The realistic thing I would do is either bring Kyler back, and I guarantee you he won't play that well. Last season he went 3 of 8. He didn't have terrible stats, but he went 3 of 8 with 66% completion percentage, about 2,400 yards. He had a 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. Wasn't that great. He has a losing career record. He isn't that great of a quarterback. He has about a 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio in his career. Not that great. But now he's in with a leg injury, which is huge for a mobile quarterback. That's one of his biggest, features of his success is using his mobility to his advantage. But let's just say Cardinals go 2-7. You bring them back. Let's say they only win at the end of the year. Let's say they go. I'll be generous and go 5-12. You go 5-12. You're in that first overall pick sweepstakes. Let's say you do get the first overall pick because, let's just say the majority of the NFL, the bad teams get lifted up a little bit into the 5-12, potentially 6-11 range, which I don't think will happen. But let's just do it for the sake of this argument. And let's say the Cardinals get the first overall pick. They will get Caleb Williams, which means they won't need Kyler Murray anymore. They'll trade him. Now, that'll do a decent amount to cap because they just signed him to an extension here, which is massive. But if I was the Cardinals, I mean, you had a difficult time getting a head coach already because of this contract. Kyler Murray, you had to put in a homework clause that got leaked. Then you had to reportedly take it out. I mean, the Cardinals, according to the off-season reports here, they were one of the worst teams. I think they got graded an F as like a front office and as just like an organization in general. They were graded an F. So the Cardinals right now are on a massive, massive landslide of culture and of everything. So why not just, why not hit the reset button and say quarterback, we need a new quarterback. They already got rid of a bunch of their core players. J.J. Watt retired. They got rid of D-Hop. I mean, there's a lot of players here that have moved on. I mean, think about it. Larry Fitzgerald, a Hall of Famer. Larry Fitzgerald, he will be a Hall of Famer. Larry Fitzgerald, I think he played 1 year with Kyler Murray. He still had juice in his tank. I'm out. He was out after 1 year, I think. So if Larry Fitzgerald didn't want to play with Kyler Murray,
Larry Fitzgerald was old.
Yeah, but he still had a decent amount left.
Yeah, but
I think he had a couple years
retired.
left. Right, he retired, but why?
He could have requested a trade. They would have honored it because he'd been with them all that time, and they respected him. If he wanted to continue playing, he could have.
But he didn't.
He didn't, but it wasn't because of Kyler Murray.
I think it could have been.
No.
I think it's very,
It was not because of Kyler Murray.
I think it's very interesting that Kyler Murray,
I don't think that has anything to do with it.
He plays 2 seasons with Kyler and then says, I'm done. I guarantee you, he still had about a year or 2 left. And here's the
you know what? If he wanted to continue playing, he could have gone to another team. They would have let him go.
I don't think he would do that to the Cardinals. I really don't. I think he's sort of that loyal guy, and then that's what I respect about Larry Fitzgerald.
If he was loyal, he would have continued playing.
You would think. Yeah. I mean, well, hold on. Loyalty does not mean you continue playing.
I do think he still had gas in the tank. But he was pretty old.
He was old. He was 37 years old when he retired. He still got something left.
But I don't think it had anything to do with Kyler Murray.
Well, it looks like teammates don't really like Kyler. Coaches didn't want to become the head coach of the Cardinals, reportedly because of Kyler. And now the brand new coach, was it Jonathan Gannon, may shut him down to potentially set up an opportunity to go out and get USC's quarterback in Caleb Williams to replace Kyler Murray. I think it's just all I think this is very, very interesting. And I'm going to say it again. I think there's a very big chance Kyler Murray within 2 years, because I think my original guesstimation and my original prediction is they do draft Caleb Williams. I think he sits behind Kyler for a year. Then after next season, that's when they move off of Kyler and Caleb Williams takes over. I believe that was my original prediction. But that could also be the case. So here's my updated prediction. That's basically the same thing. Within 2 seasons, within 2 years, Kyler Murray will not be an Arizona Cardinal. Mark it right now. August 25th, 2023, 7:20 p.m. Kyler Murray within 2 years will not be the quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals.
We'll see.
I feel confident about that.
I think if it kind of plays out the way you described it, and they tank this year, they don't let him play.
Well, tank, you can't technically tank, but
because
they also signed Joshua. They traded for Joshua Dobbs recently, which is pretty big. They added a 4th quarterback onto that roster, including Kyler.
Joshua Dobbs is not a world beater.
Correct, but you know what? When you're trading for backup quarterbacks, and now you have Colt McCoy, Joshua Dobbs, and Clayton. Sure.
So if it kind of plays out the way you're saying, and they have a terrible season this upcoming year, and they don't let him play because it's so bad that they don't want to risk him getting hurt, and they do draft that quarterback,
Caleb Williams, yeah.
Caleb Williams, then maybe they'll try to trade him,
I mean,
but I'm not sure anybody will want that contract. That is a big contract.
Well,
$46 million a year.
Who knows? The team might still see him as a franchise quarterback, but he has declined.
He'd wind up in the NFC South.
Hey, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
We could see the Falcons. That Desmond Ridder ain't the dude. They may get off him. Baker Mayfield and the Bucks.
Yeah, the Bucks.
But the Bucks could also be in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes, so we may see that.
Yeah.
The Panthers, they got their guy, and the Saints, I think Derek Carr still got 5-6 years left in the league, so I don't think that'll exactly be the answer there. But I think I'm sticking to my prediction. If I'm wrong in 2 years, if the show's still around, yeah, you'll be here to criticize me about how wrong I was. But I feel excited about this, and then
the show will still be around for sure.
I'm sure, just maybe in a different form. Who knows? Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Maybe on national TV.
That's the dream. That's the hope. But the fact that a lot of negative stuff the past year and a half is coming out about Kyler Murray, I find it very, very fascinating. Coaches didn't want to coach. Players don't want to be around him. Former GMs are speaking badly about him. He signed in his extension a homework clause that got removed, reportedly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad things going on right now.
Yeah.
Scared to run in a playoff game, which is a do or die moment, a game 7, and your general, your lieutenant is not all in. It's fishy. It's fishy. But you know what? We'll have to wait and see what happens midway through the year. If Kyler's healthy, if the Cardinals decide to shut him down, be a healthy scratch the rest of the season.
Okay, we got 6 minutes left.
I was just about to say, yeah.
Let's talk about the Red Sox.
Jump in on.
Huh?
We're 13
They won 10
minutes
of
into
their
the game
last
right now.
15. Won 10 of their last 15. How's the game looking right now? What's the score?
Well, hold on. Do we have a trade? Oh, breaking news! Breaking news! Trey Lance traded to the Cowboys. Trey Lance is officially traded to the Dallas Cowboys for a 2024 fourth-round pick. That is the trade. Trey Lance still owed $940,000 for the remainder of this season and $5.3 for next season. We just got this breaking news coming in from, I believe it's Ian Rappaport, it's Tom Pelissero and Adam Schefter, sorry. But it is official as of 4 minutes ago. Trey Lance has been traded to the Dallas Cowboys.
Wow, I'm surprised.
There we go. So
I'm not that surprised he was traded, but I am surprised it was to the Cowboys.
If I were
him,
shocked about that
why
as
would
well.
I want to go there? I mean, I guess he doesn't have any choice, but Dak Prescott's going to be there for a while longer. He's got a pretty long contract,
And hold on,
right?
here's the thing.
When's Trey Lance ever going to get to play for the Dallas Cowboys? I don't see that anytime soon. He needed to go to a team that didn't have really much of a quarterback.
I love this. What did I say? I called even the pick compensation. I said on Wednesday, I talked about this on Wednesday. I said, in January, Mike Silver said a third-round pick is the most you can get for him. And on Wednesday, I said, you may get a fourth if a team's desperate, but it's more likely a fifth or below. It looks like the Cowboys maybe don't trust Dak recently with injuries. He's been dealing with injuries over the course of the past couple seasons. He's dealing with turnover issues. I mean, his owner, Jerry Jones, said he got screwed over. Dak Prescott got him. It was a checkmate in the hand of Dak Prescott with the contract situation. So it could be a thing where Dak Prescott gets hurt, sort of like a Jimmy G thing where he gets hurt. You have that quarterback that could come up and maybe win you a couple games.
Cooper Rush is their backup
Cooper Rush.
quarterback.
We'll have to see the depth chart. Who knows? Trey Lance may even lose to Cooper Rush. Probably not. You just traded a fourth-round pick for him. But I did call this. I call it. Trey Lance gets traded. He gets a fourth-round pick. I obviously didn't pick the team. I thought maybe the Rams could look at him. That could have been one of the teams, but I did not expect the Cowboys.
They probably didn't want to trade him in the division.
Maybe.
They probably didn't want to have him in the division.
But this is huge.
But there are a bunch of other teams. I would have thought if they were going to trade him, calling around the league, there would have been some other teams that would have maybe anteed up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right?
Dak
Prescott you rank him in the top 10 or 12 quarterbacks.
I put him
right?
12 or 13, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't get it. I would have thought.
You don't get it?
I don't think if I were Trey Lance, I wouldn't be that happy with that trade because I'm not going to get a chance to play.
I love it. I love breaking news. Here's the thing. So far, the past couple days have been beautiful. I called Sam Darnold number 2, called Trey Lance will be moved. Now it's official. Trey Lance, the former 3rd overall pick. 49ers moved 3 first-round picks to go up and get him, and within 3 years of being on the team, has been traded away.
Baker Mayfield would never be a starter in the NFL again?
The Bucs are desperate. The Bucs are going to be terrible. You poke me with a stick there. Every time I get right, you're like, hey, but what about Baker Mayfield? I don't know. It's a good day. This will be up later tonight. I guarantee it'll be a breaking news.
What's the score of the
headline.
Red Sox game?
1-0 Verdugo hit a home run. There you go. Leadoff home run 6 minutes ago.
Yeah. Red Sox, 10 out of 15. 10 out of the last 15. Beat the Houston Astros yesterday 17-1.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
24 hits.
Yeah.
First time since 2015 they've had that many hits. How about Kenley Jansen? How bad is his? He had a little injury there. Is he out?
I'll look that up just now. Injury update. Let's see. According to the Red Sox here, there's positive news when it comes to.
That's good.
Let's see.
They need him badly.
Let's see what it was. It was a hamstring injury. That's what it was. What they said. How long ago was this article? This is yesterday. The quote from Christopher Smith of MassLive.com, Red Sox closer Kenley Jansen, said he feels good today and he'll see how the hamstring feels in the coming days. He sounded confident he'll be able to avoid the IL. He talked about this being a crucial time and wanting to be out there. So it looks like he's positive, no definite comeback, but it looks like he's at least hoping to not be on the IL.
Keep scoring 17 runs a game and won't need him to be a closer for a while.
Maybe. back to the Trey Lance thing. I want to give you a grade. What would you grade this trade? Trey Lance to the Cowboys for a 4th round pick.
I think it's a good trade for the Cowboys in terms of getting a player that has potential and all the attributes. He hasn't shown much yet, but for a 4th round pick, why not take the chance? Why not?
So your grade would be?
I give the Cowboys an A on that.
You give
trade.
an A on the trade?
Sure. 4th round pick.
Now, percentage chance based on Dak's history that Trey Lance starts at least a game.
This year?
This year.
Only if Dak Prescott gets hurt.
Right, but what would the percentage chance be based on his history? He's got injured the past couple times from the compound fracture. He was out
I'd
for the...
say 50-50.
50-50. He plays one... Wow, okay.
He plays one game.
I give the...
I don't know if he can beat out
B.
Cooper Rush. I think they probably try to give him a break.
I think you would just make him QB2. Yeah. I think that's what you do. But what a way to end the show. What an absolute way. Here we go. Wow. So for the price of a 2024 4th round pick and $6.25 fully guaranteed for the next 2 seasons, according to Ian Rappaport, Dallas gets a lottery ticket. He'll be the 3rd. Well, that answers our question.
Third pick.
Third stringer.
Core, yeah.
He's QB3. They traded a 4th round pick. Okay, I'm moving from a B to a C+.
Well, it cost him $6 million too, so that's something to consider.
Oh my God. Go from being a QB3 to a QB3, but you get rid of a 4th round pick in the... Oh, man. That's the Cowboys for you. America's team right there. The big star. There you go. Trey Lance on the move. What do we end the show? Monday, we got some news. I'm sure we'll talk more basketball, more football. Who knows what goes on. Recap the end of the preseason.
Talk some more baseball.
Yeah, I know you will. We'll see any big-time news what happens in baseball.
It's a big series for the Sox this weekend.
It is, absolutely.
Mookie Betts is in town.
First time since he got traded.
Yeah.
So this is a massive, massive weekend in sports.
Enjoy it, everyone.
Absolutely.
Enjoy it.
Absolutely. Have a good weekend. But for this episode of the Harvey Hour, my name's Nathan Harvey. That's my dad, Stephen Harvey. We are your co-hosts of the Harvey Hour. Catch us Monday, 6:30 p.m. I believe this will be the last Monday. Yeah, 2 weeks from now, I believe, is November 5th, or September 5th, or at least next Tuesday.
We'll move to Tuesdays.
That'll be the first Tuesday show. The next week, or this upcoming Monday, will be the last Monday show that we're going to be doing until about, what do we move to Mondays? Back in, I want to say, March, maybe? Well, whatever it be. Tuesday, first Tuesday show, September 5th. This Monday, the last Monday show, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube.
Hi, Grandpa.
Introducing video podcasts on Spotify.
Transform your storytelling into a show everyone can watch
Or listen to.
Easily upload your video through Anchor, Spotify's free podcast creation tool.
So whether you're showing off a new recipe,
Interviewing an exclusive guest,
or uncovering the next mystery,
you can now reach a whole new audience with Spotify.
podcasting just became more than audio.
Create with Anchor, watch on Spotify.